possible that 30% of first responders are suffering right now from PTSD.
More officers die by suicide each year than are killed in the line of duty.
Everybody and anybody can suffer from PTSD.
PTSD has residual effects for sure.
We're literally exposed to hundreds and hundreds of traumatic incidents day in and day out.
Police officers see more trauma in one day than citizens may see in their entire life.
I think post-traumatic stress injury occurs much more frequently from cumulative events than one singular event.
It is not normal that someone should pull burnt children out of a building. That's not normal. We're not wired for that biologically.
Towards the end of my career, everything was a stressor for me. It didn't matter if it was just a nosebleed or if it was a major accident out on the interstate. All those stressors just built up over time.
I remember watching a guy burn to death in his car, and I was unable to get him out of the car. And I watched him burn to death as he was pleading with me to get him out. And I was unable to do it. It was one of the most horrible moments of my life. And it was more than 30 years ago.
I was the first officer on the scene, walked through the door, 20 feet away was a little girl, 4 years old, shot in the eye. It affected me. That is, in fact, it affects me till today.
There's several calls that I have in my past that I went to that still stick with me to today and I still have nightmares about. I got called to a car accident. It was the day after Christmas. And I went to this call and I looked down and here's this guy that I know and he got ejected from the vehicle and the car landed on him and he passed. But this call just affected me differently because it was somebody I knew. Just to see him lose his life and his family lose him just affected me. It really made things real. It was like the first time I realized that could be me. Just seeing Dan laying there and knowing that his family will never be the same.
I was in denial. I really was in denial with the symptoms that I was experiencing. I said, I'll get over it, I'm okay. I wasn't okay.
First responders have a lot of symptoms in common, including difficulties with sleep, chronic hypervigilance, sometimes a startle response if someone comes up behind them, some difficulties concentrating.
Everybody's different and not everybody has the same symptoms. So like for me, my memory is completely shot. There's a whole periods of my life that I remember nothing from.
I would say irritability, a little bit of nihilism, despondent at times, you don't want to be around people, cynical. There's a lot of symptoms, for sure.
I've seen officers that have turned to alcohol, drugs, sex. They deal with the trauma in destructive ways.
Drinking, gambling, sex, drugs, name it, shopping.
Alcohol works. It's horrible. But the problem is that when you're in it, it works. It shuts everything down.
I literally would drink myself until I would pass out every single night. And I would drink in isolation because I was ashamed of who I was becoming. I didn't want anybody to know I had this problem.
When we feel terrible, of course we want to go into our turtle shell. We want to go inside our room and shut the curtains and lock the door and not talk to anybody. That is actually the last thing that you want to do.
When you're the first responder going through it, you don't know how bad you're getting. You don't know how far down that hole you've already gotten. And by the time you do, you feel like you're too far to get yourself out of it. You feel like it's too hard to reach out and ask somebody for help. Because you've gone so far down that hole by yourself that hope seems like a fake word.
I have worked with people who have talked about taking their own lives, and we got them through it. And unfortunately, I've also lost people.
Several people that I know, that I have known, have committed suicide.
You know, I've seen officers that have contemplated suicide. I've seen officers that have committed suicide.
I would sit there and see how much pressure I could put on the trigger without it going off. I guess in hopes, I would just hope that maybe I would twitch enough to just go ahead and pull the trigger.
I literally wanted to die in the line of duty. I purposely put myself in situations hoping a bad guy would take me out, hoping he would kill me on the job.
I was towing the line of the breaking point. My Glock began to look tasty. Pills began to look tasty.
Everything just came crashing down on me, and I was looking for a tree to drive into because I had to shut it off.
And you just can't understand like why someone would ever do that. Even when we've been through it ourselves. A lot of us have been through that. A lot of us have looked at that pistol. A lot of us have had a terrible moment in our personal life and went, yeah, not today. A lot of us have been there. Most people won't admit it though.
There are all different kinds of treatments, and different things work for different people and at different times.
Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, EMDR, is one of the most effective therapies for helping the brain and the body heal from trauma.
Anytime I tell anybody to see a therapist, find somebody who does EMDR. It's crazy. I hate it, but it's crazy how well it works.
Stellate ganglion block is a really exciting innovation for first responders.
I would definitely recommend SGB to anyone dealing with PTSD.
So if mindfulness is asking you to grab your mind and put it here in your body, and the nervous system follows, you can't experience post-traumatic stress while you're experiencing mindfulness, because they're opposite. Post-traumatic stress is over there, over there, over there. Mindfulness is here.
Animal-assisted therapy, if you don't know anything about it, it's just so soothing, it's so calming, it's so healing.
And everything that we learn with the horses can be repeated in our outside worlds.
Baron's been a lifesaver for me. He's both a PTSD and mobility dog. He definitely senses when my emotions change. When I'm highly stressed or anxious, he'll come right over to me, try to distract me from whatever's causing that stress or anxiety.
And I've recommitted my life to Christ in the past years, which has helped. So my spiritual walk has helped.
My spirituality has probably been the #1 healer for me, is accepting a higher power, trying to live a God-centered life, a life of service, so to speak.
I'm excited about what's going to come in the next years. I think we're in the beginning of a shift, and the new model of treatment will be the next thing, of combining biological, psychological, and mind-body practices to really get people totally different outcomes than we have in the past.
So I truly believe that you can recover and heal from post-traumatic stress injury. But the facts are that residual symptoms will be with you for the rest of your life. Some of these things will never go away. The key is knowing how to address them.
And everybody always talks about post-traumatic stress, and I love the conversation. I love that we're having that conversation. But I need and want people to hear post-traumatic growth exists as well. And taking that challenge, that adversity, and turning your pain into purpose, your wounds into wisdom, you can survive this career happy, healthy, whole, and strong.
Departments are starting to put things in place for people to get help and for people to know that it's okay not to be okay.
Everyone watching this film has a story. The power is that if we all share our stories, we can all truly make a difference. I've already seen it starting, but we have to carry this torch on. We need to continue it. But things are changing, things are getting better. And I know for a fact we are saving lives every single day. Not lives on the street, but our own lives.